Hello everyone, welcome to today's live stream. I just so happen to have time right now. I thought I was maybe going to work on Maurizio's portrait last night, but I didn't. I slept, and it was well needed. Hello Paul Tyson, so nice to see you here. I just saw you over in the Instagram chat, so nice to have you here. And anyone else who's watching, whether you're watching the live stream or the replay, please say hello in the chat or the comments. It's always nice to know who's here. So yeah, yesterday we just sketched Zaya. I thought maybe we would sketch Zaya and Maurizio. And here it was the full reference, which I squished them in a bit together from the Zoom screenshot that I took. And today I'll be focusing on Maurizio's portrait, which will be going right up next to Zaya's right here. And I hope, how's the resolution of this? I'm using a different camera than usual, a different lens rather, but it looks okay. Let's sketch together. What do I have to say? I don't know. Here we are. Thank you for being here. So I've sketched a series of portraits, and I'm going to be doing many more. There are 50 people involved in these conversations and presentations over the course of 7 days. I'm going to sketch as many of them as I can, and I've been in touch with Maurizio, and this is from the 1920s mugshots, and is not one of the people presenting as part of the Eternal Song premiere. I've been in touch with Maurizio, and I got an email last night or this morning when I woke up saying that they would love to share my sketches with their audience. So I hope to get as many done as possible by Monday when this gathering is going to conclude. So let's sketch together, and as if you have been here before, you'll know that I have this daily practice going, and everyone is welcome to come and sketch together with me. And it's something I really enjoy creating together, and this opportunity to work, practice, to see and create and be present with these people that we sketch. And it's always lovely when people tune in and sketch along. And there are always really wonderful sketches that people share. There's a Discord server where you can join and get the reference. The link is in the description. And if you're sharing to Instagram as well, then I really enjoy resharing your work to my stories. So if you're sketching along, tag me. I'm really happy to be working on Maurizio's portrait right now. It's a wonderful smile. And if you were here yesterday for Zaya's portrait, I was talking quite a bit about things and my appreciation of these two wonderful people and what they've put together and are facilitating with these series of conversations from the Eternal Song and the entire Science and Non-Duality offerings and community is really quite incredible and a wonderful resource and gift. Teeth are so hard. My little advice for the teeth would be to draw the negative space. Don't go straight into each individual tooth, but the negative space. I'll talk about that in a moment. Hello, Mark. Hello, Martina. I was so moved, Martina, to see your Instagram story where you showed that you were at this beautiful coast sketching Zaya and Maurizio. Oh, it was so nice. And the music and the birds. Oh, so beautiful. I was like, oh, so emotional just watching your story that you shared. So thank you so much for sharing it. Mark, nice to see you here as well for this impromptu live stream. I just mentioned that I'm attempting to sketch, and I'm not really sure how it's going to work out yet. but attempting to sketch as many of the 50 presenters from the Eternal Song gathering as I can by Monday, because Monday is the end of the gathering, and Maurizio said that they would love to share my sketches with the audience, the community. So I am not yet sure how I'm going to get all those sketches done, but on a Tuesday evening, I sit down every Tuesday. Everyone's welcome to join me in Zoom. I sit together with a group of delightful people and do about 26 portraits in 2 hours. So I may have to channel some of that energy and productivity to get through the sketches. And yeah, I really appreciated listening to the conversations that are being hosted and facilitated by this wonderful team of people from Science and Non-Duality. Hi, Annette. It was perfect timing with the seagull. Oh, it was so nice. And Martina, you shared these pelicans, and I grew up with pelicans. And one of a memory that really sits with me from before I left Australia was that my last family gathering there, I was at my grandparents, and they lived at the coast at the time, and I slept outside because the beds were full, and I was like, hey, I'll just sleep outside. And I was up really early in the morning, and I walked over to the beach because I was up before everyone else, and I was having intense, vivid dreams, I remember, during this phase at my grandparents' place. And I got up in the morning and walked to the beach, and I just saw so many pelicans and black swans. We have black swans live where I grew up, and they're so beautiful. And this morning they were just out on the water. I'm not sure they were amongst each other, but they were like, there was a flock of pelicans and a flock of black swans out on the water, and it was just incredible in the sunrise and the silence. Well, it wasn't silent, waves, and but just the stillness, the calm of it all. So it was especially moving to see your bird encounters there, Martina. So thank you for sharing. Hi, Andrea. Also loved your portrait of Zaya. So nice to have you all here. This is an unusual time to live stream, but here we are. And it's amazing. It's truly delightful that no matter what time I happen to live stream, I did enjoy the consistency of always doing it at the same time in the evening. But I also cherish that the live audience is generally smaller when I just jump on spontaneously. But I think it's amazing that there's always some of you who are able to just jump on and be here. And it's so nice. It's so cool that we have the ability just to be here and sketch together. Mark, slightly taking yourself out of routine can show some incredible things. Yeah. Last month's drawings were really interesting. This just made me think of that. It was really... So I was trying to draw without line. And here you see this is very much starting with line. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. But yeah, last month's daily practice, I had this focus of drawing without line, which for me felt like being out of routine. Also going to watch birds was out of routine. But it's really interesting what can happen when we just do something a bit different. I feel like things are kind of in place here, and I can start putting some ink, some value in, which is the theme for this month, focusing on value, which I will definitely get into the subject a lot more. And I've been thinking about it. I had this project, which I did 54 of 108 paintings, which was 108 was my goal, and I still feel like perhaps someday I will do the remaining 54. Martina, I have not finished watching the film yet. Have you? Have you seen it? Has anyone here, have you seen The Eternal Song? Perhaps. I wonder if putting in my ink wash before the line work may be beneficial. As I was sketching so many people from the Zoom conversations, I had issues with the ink just going all over the place. So I was starting with ink and then adding water. And I know that a lot of people who have been following my lead and using similar media, the ink and water that I've been using, that a lot of people have found it very challenging, and it can be. And some, like I just had so many kind of ink bleeds where I had put down ink first and then just so much ink going everywhere when I put the water down, almost as if my pen was like, there was more ink flowing from it than I was used to. So now I feel like it's safer to fill in the midtones, the ink wash, before I really get in with the inky line work. Yeah, Mark, it also highlights how important home can be. Back to lines. Yeah, it is. It's really, it's a wonderful opportunity to grow, to spend some time creating in a way and looking at things in a way which is not the usual. And then when you, like, it's still, I also did some pieces like this where I focused on, I went straight into doing this kind of wash thing without putting lines down. But after spending that time just with a different way of making decisions, of perceiving and thinking about things, to come back and be like, this is something that feels, like home, something I practice a lot. Putting down a drawing first, putting things in place, and then expanding from there. So there are so many things which are beneficial to the practice. Having the structured way of putting things together, but then sometimes just turning it on its head and being like, what if I just do it in reverse? And can really help to look at things in a different way, create in a different way, which also, when we come back to what we're used to, perhaps there'll be decisions that we make that will be also affected by that shift in perspective. Hola, Luis. Buenas tardes. Martina, you'll be watching it on Sunday if you can. Can't wait. It's a powerful film, and I've mentioned yesterday that it's really heavy and it's really beautiful, and it's great to have resources to tap into, community to share with, whether it's here or in real life, the online gathering which is happening. I have found it really helpful and beautiful, tuning in and listening to people talk through their experiences, and they have so much to share. But I'm very curious about the second half of the film, because the place where I stopped about halfway through, I was kind of like, whoa, this feels like I need to finish. But as time permits, as there's so much going on. I'm tending to my children and I've been a bit under the weather, which I was thinking about that term. It's a very interesting expression, to be under the weather. So taking time to sleep. And I kind of had all these plans. I thought maybe I was going to go to a street art festival this weekend with my kids, an 11-hour drive. And now I'm glad I decided already last weekend that maybe it's not such a good idea, because now I'm like, oh, I just need to sleep. But I wrote to Anyikan, who I would have loved to meet up with in real life. And he said he might be coming back later in the year. So maybe there'll be another opportunity to meet. Cold. Under the weather. Yeah, I have a cold. So I was thinking, I think it could be interesting. It would really like highlight Zaya's hair to put like a light wash in the background. So that's something I may still do. We shall see. What are people up to this weekend? By the way, this is my... it's nice to have time, but I often have the sense that there's so much I need to do. When I'm listening to things like these incredible conversations and podcasts and audiobooks, I'll listen to things at like 1.5 speed or 1.8 or double time, depending on how fast the people speak, because there's just not enough time for me to listen to everything. And that is something in recent years. And it was actually the first time I was aware of this thing that you can speed up the playback speed. It was because I saw that Raghunath, who we drew a couple months ago, wonderful musician and yogi, I saw he shared this sacred text that he was listening to, and it was a screenshot, and it showed that it was on increased playback speed, and I was like, oh wow, you can like up the speed. And sometimes if people talk really fast anyway, it can be and it's like more, it's overwhelming. But sometimes some people that have a really considered and evenly paced, relaxed way of speaking and sharing what they're talking about, you can put that up to double speed, and then you can still like take it in. So it depends on the delivery, but that is something that I do. I will often listen to things at increased playback speed. Does anyone else do that? Let's see, I want to make this a bit bigger. I wonder, this lens is not really behaving as I would love it to. I'm going to put a different lens in and see if I can get it more in focus. I thought this lens was going to be better focused. This is going to go black for a moment. Mark, you found that it adds to the mental burnout if you do it all the time. I appreciate that. There's also, I'm not constantly listening to content that I have to digest. Like sometimes I'll be listening to music. Hi, Holly. Yeah? Okay. Wait a moment. I'll come help you in a moment, okay? Is Ismail here?
Ja, aber ich möchte nicht.
It's okay. I wrote to Lena and I said that you can go to Ismail's soon. So I can take you there soon. I'm just going to set this up. Have to change the settings a bit. So I can zoom in with this lens, which, oh, look at that. That's better resolution. Wait a moment. It's not good resolution now.
Cool.
But it will be. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Aber das kannst du kleben.
I'll be back in a moment. Yeah, it's a sticker. Look at this sticker I got from the Meat Palace Alex Wilby zine. So cool. I'll be right with you. Hello. Fast playback speed, yes. LOL. And it's almost more entertaining sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's nicer to take life as it comes, says Mark, but I do see the use of that speed function. Sometimes Kira doesn't like listening to things at increased playback speed. And sometimes I'll put something on and it's like, and it's too much. Martina says sleep is very important. Oh man, I just remembered Sunday talking about festivals. Are we going to a watermelon festival? We went last year and loved it. That sounds incredible. Have a wonderful time. This is interesting. This lens is better. This was the default lens, and this lens is a really fancy, but I guess better for other things. El gato? Who's a cat? Okay, let us continue. Watermelon festival. That sounds great. I have my microphone floating up here. I have a new easel that was sent to me, which I'll be making a video about soon. So I'm just trying a slightly different setup. And also my dad, who gave me all this advice about lighting and how I could light my setup. I've taken on some of what he suggested and trying to see if it works out. It's interesting just to mix things up every once in a while. Did I say something about a cat? Why El Gato? Ah, El Gato is the is the name of the HDMI connection for it's a high resolution like image connector thing. Oh yeah, El Gato. Right. I was like, where's the cat? What's going on? What did I miss? Was there a cat here in my absence? It was my cat, but it's a little plug-in connector device and not an actual cat. That was confusing for a moment. It's interesting. This has a different... The reference is really different than what I often choose to work from, where there's like really high contrast, deep shadows. So I'm working a lot more with the line now to try and get a sense of not going so super dark, like even the one of Lila June, or many pieces that we work from have been like really high contrast. So you can go really dark, and set up like a. Just speaking of that, I'm like, oh, the jacket could be darker. But it's interesting to kind of consider, okay, how do I deal with that, all these midtones? Just considering this idea of value and communicating light. And if something is not as intensely lit, the light and shadow relationship is quite different, then it can be interesting to be like, oh, okay, how can I convey this now in a way which feels fitting for the lighting situation. And I noticed as I was working on Zaya's portrait yesterday that I was also going like into the kind of gentler line work a lot, as opposed to the big blocks of shadow, which I enjoy so much. Yeah, the name on the screen. El gato no signo. Alright, so now I'm borrowing from the ink from the lines that I've put down, because I would like to establish some more contrast and shadow without going super heavy with it. So I can just borrow from what's already there. Oh yeah, I don't know, Paul Tyson, if you're still here, the teeth, you'll notice, I basically didn't draw them. I drew the dark shape, focusing on the darkness between the teeth rather than actually drawing the teeth. So that is a way that I often deal with teeth. It's kind of a time saver, and something particularly when I'm thinking of value is I will squint a lot at the reference, just to kind of be like, okay, what value am I really looking at? How dark is this? And just speaking of how dark is this, the way that just the ink spread out there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and the teeth, you'll notice, if you squint, the lines between each teeth, you almost hardly see it really. We're all aware that it's there, that there is separation between the teeth. But if you squint at it and kind of simplify the value relationships, you realize that those lines in between are not as evident, not as significant as we often kind of make them out to be. Because we know they're there, we often like to draw them, but in the overall balance of the value relationships, often it won't be that intense. So it's not always necessary to draw each line and everything that you perceive. If you realize that it within the balance of light and dark, that it's not actually so pronounced. No, Lewis, this brush is just filled with water. But I have been borrowing ink from this. And I drew this like a week and a half ago. And this patch of black was just like a test sheet here. And I've kept taking ink from there. So if it looks like I magically have this grey ink, it's because I'm just wetting this and borrowing the ink. Oh yeah, and Martina, I recently, there was just a little bit left. This ink was nearly finished, and I thought, hey, I could put a significant amount of water in here, and I would have like a light ink. So I have a new bottle of ink, which I refill my pen with, so it has the full intensity, the full saturation of the ink. But I also now have like a greyish kind of ink, although it's very dark still. But yeah, if you've noticed me just like coming up here with grey ink, it's because I'm using it from here. But this, I only put water in here. But if you had a diluted ink which didn't have like residue and particles in it, you could totally refill your cartridge with it. So yeah, I refill my cartridges with a syringe. And recently because I've been recommending this pen because I really enjoy it so much. And I would also recommend that you refill your pens with a syringe or something. There are also, I don't know if there is for the parallel pen, but there's these things called fountain pen converters, which is like a plunger that you kind of wind and it sucks up ink, and you can refill cartridges like that, because that's it's really not necessary to buy lots of cartridges in terms of it's a more sustainable practice, let's say, to just in terms of the material usage, because each one of those little plastic cartridges, like I don't want to use that, like throw away so many cartridges, because you use a lot of ink with this pen, as many of you have found out, because it has such a big nib. And like by buying a big bottle of it and just refilling the same cartridge, then I think that's a much more pleasant solution. All right. Greyish is nice, yes. Indeed, Andrea, it is a greyish ink. All right, I'm nearly done, and I'm wondering about making the background a bit more greyish. So thank you again and again to Zaya and Maurizio. Thank you to everyone here drawing along with me. If you've been watching the replay, you can also say hello in the comments. Thank you so much for sharing this time, creating together. And in coming days, I'll be sketching a lot more faces of people from the Eternal Song. And if you would like to know what I'm talking about, then there is a link in the description, and you can also join the remainder of the 7-day gathering, listen in to the replays of the conversations, or maybe even attend some of them live if you have the time. It's really I feel like it's so important what's being shared there. Thank you, Lewis, who says you're great with ink medium. I love this new drawing. Yvonne, you're gluing. Thank you for being here and watching while gluing. Yeah, I really enjoy working with ink. I find it very relaxing. It wasn't when I first started using ink. It was quite confrontational, the permanence of it. But I'm just going to say that I find it really relaxing, just focusing on value. And I feel like it's such a good way to learn, where you just remove the element of color and hue, and really just focus on the relationship of light and dark. And it's the play of light and dark which brings form to the image. And like so many things in life, the play of light and dark is a lot of things can happen in that space. And it's really interesting to dedicate ourselves to the practice in that way, where we're really focusing. It's a very particular way of kind of looking at things and building it up and developing that kind of understanding. So here I also just have a jar of water that I can dip the brush into, because sometimes I just want to cover a bigger surface in a shorter time. And perhaps in that way now they are together on the page. And if this is watery enough, just by filling in a grey tone around here is going to brighten Zaya's hair. These and the same with Maurizio. All right, there they are. Zaya and Maurizio Benazzo. Two wonderful people. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you to all of you for being here, drawing with me live. If you've made it to the end of this live stream, there is a drawing hand emoji that you could put in the chat, or if you've just been watching while doing other things, you could put the popcorn emoji in. Paul Tyson, it was so nice to have you here. I'm glad you saw the Instagram live and you just had the time and were able to come over and draw. I really appreciate you being here, and all of you, everyone who was able to be here. Mark, look after value, form looks after itself. Exactly. If you just focus on the value and see, like, it's constantly refining that way of perceiving how things are relating to each other in terms of value. And then you've got it. You've somehow put this image together just by focusing on the interplay of value. It's such a wonderful way to learn to see and make things. Popcorn. Yes, Luis, this is nostalgie paper. Indeed, Hanamura nostalgie paper. All right. And maybe if I just have a look like this. And here is these wonderful two people again together, Zaya Neti and Benazzo Maurizio on Instagram, though I don't know how active their accounts are, but the Science and Non-Duality account, which I have tagged, is very active. And you can follow them. And I've also put a link in the description to the Sounds of Sand podcast, which I got to say is probably my favorite podcast. It's really amazing. I listen to it a lot, often at double speed. Thank you for being here. Thank you. You're also great. And yeah, I look forward to sketching more with you and sketching more of the people from the Eternal Song. I have some great faces to share with you in the coming days, so come back and sketch with me every day, and join the Discord server where I share the reference and people are sharing their work, and it's really great. See you soon.